The popular Netflix series Making a Murderer has the inner workings of the legal system entwined in its headlines. And a key confession from the accused accomplice has been tossed out of court. Now, Anne-Marie Rizzo is Florida's first female lawyer scientist, and we're really thrilled to have her back as our legal expert today, Anne-Marie. We're so glad to have you because we really want to talk about this. But first, something that's got us upset is the Stanford swimmer, what was his name, Brock Turner, who just got spent 3 months in jail for raping a woman who was unconscious at the time.
Yeah, so obviously there's a big public outrage about this. But we have to understand that he had no prior history. He was young. He's what in Florida we call it youthful offender, which allows for the judges to go underneath guidelines, give them a lighter sentence based on a lack of criminal history, their age. It's also called a downward departure, the fact that maybe this is an isolated incident. One of the major things that's probably a bigger punishment than jail time is he's a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. That's going to follow him. That is a punishment that no jail time will ever give him, that he'll get, that it'll follow him forever.
Oh, he was heading for scholarships in Ivy League schools too, wasn't he?
Yeah, so this is not something that, even though it's perceived by the public to be, oh, a light sentence, he didn't serve a lot of time in jail, what the public doesn't realize is that that costs them a lot of money, putting him on probation where he can look up to the maximum if he violates, making him give back to the community, making him be monitored, is probably overall going to be a better punishment for him than sitting in jail and getting to play solitaire or whatever card games all day.
So you're not upset by it, it doesn't sound like.
I'm not surprised by it. Yeah. Obviously, if I was the victim or somehow connected, but I can also see the other side of it.
It's interesting.
And it's a lot, plus the release, half of the time of the full sentence of the 6 months, that's up to the jail. That's not even up to a judge. That's based on what they call gain time. We have that here in Sarasota County. You can earn up to 11 days a month off your sentence per month based on gain time and what kind of good behavior people understand it to be.
Another really big issue is everyone's watching this new Netflix series. Tell us about that.
Catch us up.
Yes, so it's an update to the Netflix Making a Murderer. And what we see in this new update is that the Brendan Dassey, the nephew whose confession convicted himself as well as his uncle, has been overturned by a federal judge, and that conviction is overturned and they may have to go back to trial. So his confession, which was the heartbeat of both cases, is what was the big reason for overturning that conviction.
And I think we have video of that. So let's take a look at his confession.
You did a very bad thing.
Yeah, but I was only there for the fire, though.
Brendan, you haven't told me the truth yet. And what I don't want you to do right now is tell me any more lies. So you're going to make a decision before you start writing anything. You're going to write the complete truth, no matter what the truth is.
Was he coerced?
Absolutely. As a defense attorney, from the minute I watched that, I was just so irate. I was like, you know, a guy watching a football game where there was a bad call and you're screaming at the TV. I'm like, how can this be happening?
It actually broke my heart because they talk about how he has some developmental delays. He was young, and he clearly in the beginning was saying, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And then they were leading him with these questions. Well, did you do this? And he'd say, yes. Did you do that? He never once even really confessed what he did, except for answer yes. And
but if somebody told me write the truth, I'm going to write the truth. I'm not going to write especially if you're delayed educationally, you can't think of anything else to write.
The repercussions.
I think that's the opposite. When you're under duress and someone's been questioning you for hours and hours, you'll say anything to get out of that room.
Right, you'll give them what they want.
So it's just like if you're...
It was really sad.
And they misled him. They were like, you know, your mom doesn't need to be here, your lawyer doesn't need to be here. Now that clip that we saw was actually an investigator for his attorney, which is even more distraught to me. Like, how can the person that's supposed to be advocating for you be the one pressuring you to sign this and write this?
Legally, that's a mistrial, right? I mean, isn't that, as a lawyer on the other side, you can take all of that and say, look, he did not get fair representation.
Absolutely, and I give a lot of credit to the appellate attorneys that really fought for him, and I think this will make a big difference in the outcome of his case when he gets retried, if they were to retry him.
There's going to be a retrial.
It's possible. They have 90 days to make a decision as to whether they're going to release him and try him
That's
again.
more serious, too,
Yeah.
then.
Yes.
Yeah, there
And
is.
if they don't decide on a retrial, does he just go free?
That's what it sounds like from the order, that the conviction's been overturned. So if they're not going to retry him, he's done. I've been reading in the media that he's coming to Florida to see the WWE wrestling if he does get released.
What does this mean to the other guy that was convicted because of this?
Well, there hasn't
His
been
uncle.
as a defense attorney, I would say that you would think that his conviction would also have to be overturned. That has not been done yet, but I can only imagine that that is the next step that we'll probably be hearing of this series. Another update is that Stephen Avery's conviction will have to be overturned. But there's also still the possibility that the government can appeal this judge's decision, which could hold Brendan in custody even longer as well.
Oh, we'll be watching. That's very interesting. I never trust reality TV. Sometimes it's really true, isn't it?
It is. This was a pretty accurate depiction.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And for more information, go to lawplace.com. And this is information on real life cases.
That's true.
Anne-Marie can help you there. So talk to her on the phone or on her email, lawplace.com.